up real tall. So the first thing I want you to do is, as you're sitting up real tall, if you have a ball or a block or something, put it all the way up through and between your legs. So this, when we have tightness through the lower back and the hip flexors and through the lower part of the abdominals, it pulls and it creates this roundness to our lower back. So in order to create better flexibility, we have to work from the foot all the way up and through the back. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is let your back curve, the lower back curve, then push your hips forward, keeping your back straight. The whole time, if your knees can't stay straight, then bend them a little bit. So you're going to go from here to here. Now notice when I do that, I'm not going like this. Okay, I'm not lifting my shoulders. I'm keeping my upper back and upper shoulders. Well, your shoulders are upper anyway. I'm keeping them down. So just drop and then lift. And then drop and then lift. One more. Drop and lift. Good. Okay, take your hands behind you and rest your back, and then point and flex your feet. Keeping your back lifted, keeping it straight. Don't let yourself just flop back there. Point and flex. Now circle the right foot, circle the left. Go through those circles. Try to make it completely circle. Even if it takes you a little longer to get there. Now reverse it. All right. Now come up, sit tall. You're going to keep your sits bone and your pubic bone are rooted down. Okay, you can feel them. You're going to take your hands to the outside. The first thing you're going to do is, as you're going to keep your back straight right now. As we lean forward and walk our fingers forward, you're going to move, keeping your lower back stationary. Don't let it flex forward. Keep it right where it is, but let your upper back stretch out. So as you reach, it's like a resistance. You're keeping the hips back, but moving the arms forward. So stay right here. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, move a little deeper. Tightness in the back. If you want to hold on to body parts, go for it. Feet or legs. Keep going. Walk forward more. And come out of it. Good. All right. So laying down, I'm going to rest the ball under my head, neck, and shoulders. You guys can do what's good for you. So the first thing we're going to do is your hips are lifted. You can feel how your middle back wants to press down, but sometimes there's a little bit of a tightness right along that bra strap line. Okay, arms are up. You're going to really plug your right and left arm into your shoulder girdle, okay? So feet together, knees together, pulling that belly button in nice and tight, and then feel your lower back pressed to the floor. It's like you're zipping up your zipper on your jeans, okay? So that whole transverse abdominal muscle, the lowest part right above the pubic bone, it's pulling up and in. So now bring your arms outside and then lift them up. Outside and then lift up. As we do this, sometimes what happens is our back starts to drop and open up, and more comfort level there in your thoracic. Keep going. Now the arms are up. Now bring them down to the mat and lift them up overhead. So if you come overhead and you find that this is uncomfortable to the neck or the shoulders, then you're going to stop right here. If you want to take it all the way up and let the fingers drop, go for it. You have to think about where it's safe for you. For some of us, opening the arms wider and dropping them works in the shoulder girdle better. So we're just going to bring it down, lift it up, bring it down. Feel how your scapula just slides right there behind you. Keeping that belly tight. Okay, arms beside you. So now we're going to take our arms outside like an angel wing. We're going to lift it straight up to the ceiling and down. We call these arm circles. So I'm not going to have you, as you bring them down and you bring them outside, you're lateral. You're going to slip them straight up. So that means you're not going to go like this. You're not going to whip them all the way up overhead. Okay? So down and up. Because you want to keep your shoulder girdle more, you just want to keep it, you don't want to compromise it at all. Okay, arms down. Now with your knees together, you're going to let your knees drop to the right. Hold that there. Inhale, exhale, center. Knees to the left. Exhale, center. To the right. Exhale, center. To the left. To the right. And to the left. Good. Okay, so you're going to put your legs in tabletop, and we're going to try what we call a single bent knee stretch. So when we have a bent knee, we take the leg out, the right leg out, keep the left leg bent on that 45-degree angle. If this is pulling on your back at all, lift this leg up a little higher. So point it more towards where the ceiling and your wall meet, okay? So you have options here. Now, while we extend that right leg, let's extend the right arm up. Then bring it back, and the left. And work your arm where you feel comfortable. If your arm is better wider, your arm is better straight up to the ceiling, then do that. You don't have to bring it all the way back. One more left. Okay, so feet are to the floor. We're going to hold this. So we're going to add what we call the single leg stretch, the single bent knee stretch with the arm circle. Okay, so you brought your arms up, but remember when we just brought our arms up to the ceiling, outside and back down? That's what we're going to do for the circle. Okay, so that it keeps your shoulder plugged and it doesn't lift it up. If you want to go all the way up and around in a circle, go for it. So we're back in tabletop, arms beside us, extending that right leg, lift up, circle, pull back, left, right, left, two more. So stay here. How about we reverse the arm circles? So right and left and right and left. One more left. Okay, feet come down. All right, so now we're going to really work on our spine. Now that we moved a little bit, we can feel the movement of the spine. So let's work from the tailbone. First thing I want you to do is I want you to push the tailbone to the floor. Okay, so if you push it to the floor, what happens is the lower back starts to curve, okay? So you have like a hyperextension. So once my tailbone is pushed, now I'm going to go up the hips and I'm going to press my lower back down, okay? Pelvic tilt, you're feeling the movement. So then I'm going to go right here on my waistline, and I'm going to feel that my ribs push down so I can feel my waistline touching. So let's travel up the back and do the same thing. Ribs, upper ribs, they're pushed down and in. You can feel the middle part of the back, the lats, the traps. Now all the way up with your fingers up to the ceiling, and the whole back is flat, okay? So you're there, nice, and it feels really good. So now bringing your arms down beside you, take your right leg up to the ceiling, point and flex. You're going to lower the leg. You're going to point the toe and raise it. You're going to lower the leg. You're going to point the toe and raise it. Keep out. Lower the leg, point the toe and raise it. Lower the leg, point the toe and raise it. Lower the leg, point the toe and raise it up. Cross it over. Hold it here on top of your left leg. Good. Now take this right foot and let it drop towards the left side. When we do that, the right shoulder wants to lift, but you're going to hold it down. Your right hip's going to come up, no problem. Don't worry about that. Inhale, exhale, center. Good. Okay. So left leg up, point and flex. Point and flex. So flex the foot, lower it, point the toe and raise it. Keep moving this way. Imagine somebody's down there at the bottom of where your feet are, and they're ready to grab your ankle and pull it. So you feel that oppositional pull going on. Leg up, let's cross it over. So you have the left foot. We're going to take it and drop it to the right side. Keeping that knee outside, left shoulder down, obliques really stretching. You're getting a lot in the piriformis here. Inhale and exhale back. Good. Okay, so single leg circles. Left leg is long. Keep it nice and tight to the mat. Draw the right leg all the way up and in. So as it's nice and tight, you can feel it rested on your rib cage. You're going to take your right leg up to the ceiling. Now, when we get up to that ceiling, if you find that you're going up straight and your leg's bending, point your toe, straighten your knee, come up as high as you can. So if you're all the way up here with a bent knee, it's really not going to be a good movement. You want to get to a place where your joint is nice and straight. So your toes are pointed, keep your shoulders down. You're going to let your leg come down across the body. As you bring it across the body, don't whip it like this. Don't lift your back. In control, down, sweep it across the bottom. As it comes outside, you want it to be evenly spaced. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. That upper part of your leg bone really does rotate in your hip. Hold it up and reverse it. Inhale. Use that breath. Imagine you have like a seat belt across your hips, keeping you nice and quiet here. If you've ever read any of the history of Joseph Pilates, He was a bit crazy. He actually would stand on people's stomach while they did movements like this. I don't think I can get away with that right now. Knee in, hold it tight. Okay. Slide the right leg down. Draw the left knee all the way up and in. Quads tight to the rib cage. Okay, you feel stretch. Extend the leg up to the ceiling. So we're trying to keep a straight knee. Point your toe. Bring it down across and up. Inhale and exhale. One more in this direction. Hold it up and then reverse it. So we're keeping the hips quiet. They're moving for what they need to be moving for. Don't beat yourself up if you can't get your leg up and around like this. Everyone has their own way of moving. Be good to your body, especially because we haven't been together for a while. Knee in, of course you have been. Good for all of you to be in these rooms these last couple of weeks. Okay, leg are long. Now you're going to flex your feet as your legs are long, and you're going to notice that your lower back is trying to lift. Okay, you're having that concave, not lower back, I'm sorry, your middle back above your lower back starts to lift a little bit, that curve. Okay, so we're going to take the arms up, bend the knees now, and push that whole back down. Good. You really feel how you can open up the back. Now come up into that tabletop again. You're going to take your arms beside you. Okay, they're going to just levitate over the floor. You're going to extend both legs, and when you extend both legs, you're going to point them up to the ceiling. Okay, not a 45, but take it up to the ceiling, pull it in. Do you have to pull it all the way in like this? If you want to, it's fine. You feel more of a stretch when you do that. Okay, so take it up and bring it back. Take it up. Okay, back into tabletop. So now we're going to add the arms to this. Okay, double leg stretch. Take it out, bring it in. If you want, you can lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. All righty, feet down. Okay, readjust that back, get it nice and tight to the floor. When we create that pelvic tilt by lifting the tailbone and pressing the lower back, it really does a great job to stretch out the connective tissue of the lower back into your hips. Okay, that's really a nice stretch there. Okay, so now we're going to cross the right over the left, and we're going to lift the left leg up. So before you even get there, make sure that this right knee stays outside. When it comes in, that is an indication of really tight hips. Don't worry about it. It just is part of the territory. Okay. And if it does happen, as you lift your left foot off, if you want to hold this away from you to create better stretch here, go for it. If you want to release that and bring this in, you can. Okay. So you have an option here. You can work on the stretch in the front of the hip, or you can work on the piriformis. Okay. So whatever works for you. Use both hands drawing in, using the elbow to keep the right leg away, and release. Okay, crossing the left over the right. Let's lift this up. Goal is to keep the knee away. The next goal is to draw this in. Good stretch. It works both areas. Depends on how tight you are. And release it. Good. Okay, so now we're going to inchworm the feet. So your feet are real close to your body, which is nice. And you are going to, I'm going to close this up a little bit. You're going to do the inchworm move. So you're going to let your toesies go walking down that. Let it walk down. So it's going to inchworm through. So you're inchworming your toes down. Down, down, down. And then back. Really feel that in the gastrocnemius. And again, toes forward. Keep the belly tight and back. And forward. Keep going. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable to our toes. And if it is, well, it's another way that you know you have to work on your toes. Anytime something feels really uncomfortable, it's usually an indication of work we need to do in that area. No shame there, just a reminder, a gentle reminder that we can do a little more work in those areas. Keep moving back. Okay, so now we're going to sit ourselves up. If you want to cross your feet and roll forward, if you want to move from the right to the left and sit up, go for it. So we're in our seated position. You're going to take the ball and you're going to bring it in towards the tummy. So when it's in towards the tummy, we're going to add this resistance here. So my right arm is going to be around this ball like it's my new best friend. My left hand is going to be behind me, which is going to help me to lift my back straight. My sits bones are down. My pubic bone is rooted, but I'm creating this length, okay? Now, don't lean your head forward. Bring it back. Let your head in alignment with your spine. So in this position, stay here. Now, turn towards your left side. Turn, okay? Now turn more. And then come out of it. Now let's do one movement all the way through. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So this is a very rigid rotation. Good, and release it. Okay, before we go to the other side, let's put the ball tight and we're going to hold the ball there and just hinge forward and come up. Again, hinge forward. Don't be upset if you feel your quads are real tight or if you feel you're not making big movements here. We're all coming from a different place. And release. Okay. So I'm holding this with my left hand, arm, and I'm going to bring my right hand behind me, and it's going to help to lift and straighten my back. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the rotation. Good. It's a good time to identify to what side is tighter. This gives us a better way to know our body. What part we're going to work on more. My left side is always tighter than my right. And release it. Good. Okay. So let's take the ball away. Let's do a seated spine stretch without the ball there. Okay. So we're going to use the strength of the hips, the obliques, the abdominals, and we're going to lift ourselves forward. Okay. So we're not here, we're here. Use your chest, use your back. Okay. Everything is lifted and pointed forward. Your arms are out, but they're plugged. Inhale. Keep your feet together. Reach for a spine stretch forward. So when I reach, I'm like reaching forward. I'm not dropping. Come up out of it. And again, spine stretch forward. And come back. And again. 2 more. Last one. Good. Shoulders back and down. Okay. Open your legs wider. Take the ball between your legs. Squeeze the legs tight so that the ball is nice and tight. And now we're going to do the same thing. Spine stretch forward, keeping this ball here. Plug it in. Sits bone. You're going to lift. You're on those sits bones. Spine stretch. Come out of it. Let your head and neck follow the alignment or the movement of your spine stretch. Getting a lot of movement and a lot of stretching along the obliques. Serratus anterior through the connection here. And release. Okay. So with the ball here, it gives us the setup for the saw. So let's go right into that. So you're lifted. Okay. You're once again, sits bones and pubic bone are rooted down. We don't want to drop here. We want to stay lifted. So your arms are going to be outside. You can lift them up a little bit, but you don't need to be lateral. It's just not necessary to put too much information there. So here's where you go. Inhale, twist, right hand to the outside of the left foot. I'm using my hand. And as I lean in here, I'm going to saw off my left baby toe. Come up, twist, saw. So as you see, I'm not dropping. I'm staying lifted. I'm not going into this position where I'm down, okay? I'm lifted. Again. One more. Good. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay. So while we have this ball here, another movement, since you're flat on the floor, you're not going to feel, like I almost feel like I'm going to fall off my studio reformer here, but you're going to get the idea. So with your feet flexed, and your arms here. So what I'm trying to do is we're going to do an extension. So my hand has to be back as I sweep my right fingers across my feet, okay? So I'm sweeping. I'm going to place my hand back behind me, and I'm going to move onto my left hip as I reach. I'm going to release that, sweep to the other side. So it's almost like you're rolling onto that hip, but you're not because the ball's there. It's protecting that lift. But what I'm trying to get you to do is reach. Feel the obliques open up. In the industry, this is what they call massaging the organs. Sometimes I wish somebody could take their hands inside and massage my my organs. Good. And release it. Okay. So now we're going to take the ball behind us. So here's where it is. Your feet are extended. You have that mat, and it's going to keep it. It's nice and sticky. Okay. So now you're going to move yourself from here to here, from here to here, here to here. So there's a stretch going on in your lower back. Also, contraction. 2 more. And lift. Okay. So the next movement you're going to do is you're going to take your back, arms out, move that lower lumbar down, bring yourself back, and then lift. Bring yourself all the way forward into a spine stretch. Come up nice and tall. This is the precursor to the full body roll down. And lift up. And reach. Take it back. Remember, we always talk about part of the 6 components to the basic method, Pilates, which is one of them is fluidity. And the fluidity of the movement helps us to understand the strength of the movement. So think about it. If you're not real fluid in a movement, you're obviously not strong enough. So we have to evaluate that, go back to it, try to be more fluid in our own range, and then work on it. So it gives us more strength. Good. And forward and down. Okay. So now we're going to have you sit on your mat sideways. Okay. I'm just dropping my feet. So in this movement, you can have your legs together here. You can have your feet together, whatever floats your boat. Okay. All goes away. So my shoulders are back and down. I'm going to take the left hand down. The right arm's going to come up. So with the left fingers touching, this is my connection. It's grounding me. My right arm is going to go up. I'm going to reach that arm up as high as I can, feeling the stretch all the way down, believe it or not, into your piriformis. So you're reaching, reaching, reaching. Now I'm going to drop that left hand. I can even bend into my elbow as I stretch through. Now, if you notice, I'm not going like this, okay? I'm trying to keep the hand here for protection. I can bend in, but I'm not taking my obliques and smushing them together, okay? I'm creating some space there is what I want to do. Release this, right hand down, left hand up, always working first on the extension of the move, and then over here on the movement. and come up, because you're still creating enough space on both sides. And you're keeping your sits bones down, which is reminding your body that you have to, you can't let it lift. If you let it lift, what's going to happen is you're going to go into a different stretch, and the movement's not going to be as profound, really. You're not going to feel it as much. Because if I lift my hip, I go right out of that. It's like a resistance. Think about the stretch. Use your head. Get your mind into it. Don't think about what. Thank you. Don't think about what we have to do after the class. Great. Okay. So we're going on to all fours. So we're going to start with our hands down and our toes tucked. So when your toes are tucked and your knees are about hip width apart, you can feel a great stretch into the ankle space. I'm going to have you lift up through the abdominals. Okay, so you're trying to curve the lower back. So lift and curve, not the upper, just the lower. Move back, then come out of it. Now, if you have a knee issue here and this is uncomfortable, sometimes if you put your foot flat, it makes it more doable. You may not even be able to get to the spot. One more. So we're working more in the lower back. Okay, so if you're back here, we're going to flatten the feet out. So we're going to go into a child's pose. Knees are apart, but the feet are more together and touching. Your arms are down. So you don't have to be straight arms overhead. Your arms can be opened, okay? Your job is to shift your hips back, okay? Getting your tushy close to your heels, and then release. So if you like your arms extended, go for it. If not, you can cross it and rest your head. The whole point is to, believe it or not, innately bring us back to a comfort. They've done studies on this, and it shows that people, we get to go back to the unconscious world we lived in when we were in utero, and we were like this inside of our mommy's bellies. And this is a comforting place for a lot of people. They use this in traumas, especially with children. It's a great place to be sometimes. Okay, you're going to lift up on all fours. Now we're going to take the hips, drop them, lift, inhale, make that curve to the back. Drop your hips and curve to the back. Lift, curve to the back. When you inhale, as you drop your hips, your lungs and your chest are wide open. Good place to be. Alrighty, so let's go flat. So when we're flat, that's all the way down, okay? So chest to the mat. We're gonna bring our arms beside us. You're gonna keep your shoulders plugged in and away from your ears, okay? So they're down. So with our hands beside our body, we're gonna lift just this right side. So right arm and right leg start to lift. So when they lift, what happens is literally the leg lifts in a prone hip extension. The arm is assisting just by lifting. But that doesn't mean you throw your body into a position where you hyperextend your lower back. So it's just like a lift, a long lift in space. And the left side. Right. Once again, we talked about that fluidity. We want this to be very fluid. For some of you, you may just barely be able to get your foot off the floor or your arm off the floor or your chest off the floor or your head off the floor. Don't worry about that. You are still contracting muscles in the back. There's still a lot of muscles along the paraspinal that are working. Spine, you're doing a spine extension. Okay, legs come together. Once again, belly's very tight. We're going to take our hands, and instead of dropping them down here near our tushy, bring them up a little bit and rest them on your lower back. Good. Once again, look at your shoulders. Are you here? If you are, bring them back. You want to have space from the shoulder to the ear. Okay. First thing I want you to do is lift your feet. So this is prone hip because your legs are lifting, and release. So legs lift. You can't really see it too much, but my feet are coming up off the mat. My chest is staying down. Use that breath. So if you find that it's going into your lower back, then obviously you're not tightening your belly enough. Just because we're on our belly doesn't mean we let it just hang out there. Okay, so rest your legs. You always want to contract the belly button into your back. Lower rectus abdominis is very tight, transverse abdominals, so tight that if you lift, there's no pressure or no contract or no hyperextension here in your lower back. So now we're going to put these together. We're going to lift the legs just a little bit, about 2 inches off the floor. Then the head, neck, and shoulder, and then release. Let's lift these together. One more. Good. All righty. So tuck the elbow in and then lift yourself up onto the elbow. So you have another extension here. If you want to open your legs wider, you can. Open up as wide as your mat. So we have a movement here that we call the bent knee. Well, it doesn't matter what we call it, but your palms, you're in that fist position, they're down. Now, I recommend that you relax the hand. Let them go flat. Open your fingers wide. So I'm in this extension move. I'm not dropping here, okay? I'm pressing off my elbows and I'm recruiting my chest and my obliques to really get myself lifted in that extension. So you're going to bend the left leg up, pulse 2, 3, point the toe, release it. Right. Release it. Keep going. Once again, keep your belly button pushed up into your back. That means you're contracting your abdominals. Two more. Last one to the left. Okay, so here's where you're going to keep those hands are down, right? The elbow, see how it's right underneath my shoulder? Your palms are there. Now, if you can lift, go for it. And then come out of it. Keep that tummy tight. And down. One more. Okay, tucking the toes in, your hands are to the outside of your chest. Now we're going to lift off and come back again. Now on all fours, you have an option here. You can do this stretch in 2 different ways. You can do it on your back, which you're used to doing it, where you pull your knee in, cross your 1 foot over and draw the knee in, it gets stretched to the back. Or we're here, my right hand, my right knee's coming up to my right hand, my left leg is going back. Right away, I'm getting a great extension and opening through my hips. You feel that? Especially if you're lifting up the rib cage. So stay here for a minute. Feel that movement. Now, my foot is going to shift to the inside, okay? And then I'm going to come back farther. I'm going to feel that heel somewhere in the space of my pubic bone. As I keep my leg back here, my left leg, I don't want it to jut out to the left side. I want it to stay right underneath me. I'm still lifted here, okay? So if you feel comfortable, you can come down to your elbows. So this stretch is not for everyone. We can do the same stretch on the floor, drawing our knees into us. But it's good to have another way to get there. Come up, then tuck that left toe, and then move yourself out of this, okay? So you're on all fours again. Your left knee's coming up to your left hand, and your right leg is going to go back. So give yourself an opportunity to really feel the difference side to side. Wow, this is really a great stretch. Now, I want to keep my shoulders down. So do you. Now, I'm going to tuck my toe in a little bit. And I'm going to move this left foot, as you can see, better this way. It's coming in towards the inside of my body, close to my pubic bone. My leg is extended. You can feel it more in so many places. Everybody has an idea of where that is. You can take yourself down to your elbows if you prefer. So this does more of an extension in your hip as well as a stretch in your piriformis. A lot going on here. Come out of that. So first I want to lift, then I'm going to tuck my toe in to assist me to come out. Okay, good. All right. So we're going to move again onto our side for our mat, keeping our feet crossed. Okay. So let's do a little bit of neck stretching, and then I think we can finish up with some weights. So chin is in and head lift. Chin is in, head lifted. One more. Chin is in. You're going to roll to the inside of your right shoulder. You're going to hold that there. You're going to roll it back to the center. Inhale, exhale, roll it to the inside of the left. Bring it center. And again. And the left. Okay, head is lifted up. So let's get our weights in our hands. You're gonna have to keep me on schedule, Allie, because I don't have a clock here. Okay. So we're gonna, once you get your weights, we're gonna stand real strong. So your toes are going to be a little less than hip width apart. You're going to keep your toes apart, but not far apart, okay? All righty. First thing I want you to do is, I'm going to show you from behind here. If my feet are about a little less than hip width apart, you're going to imagine that you have something behind you that you're going to go back to sit on and lift. So if we were doing that without that there, this is what it could look like. So if the hand is holding the weight and you're pushing it out away from you, it's going to pull on your back. So what you want to do is keep the weights beside you and then lift. When you stick your tushy out, make sure that your knees don't go over your toes. Inhale, exhale. Good. Keep going. One more. Good. All righty. Shoulders rolling back. Now let's curl the right arm. Press it all the way up overhead. Bring it on down. And the left. So when you're here, you're always pulling the belly in and up and tailbone under. Okay, so that's the proper movement that you have. So right. You want to take stress off of your body, your lower body. You can also do these seated. Any weight work you can do seated, which isn't such a bad idea sometimes. Okay, so let's try both. So curl up, all the way up overhead, bring it down and rotate through. Good. Yeah. I'm going a little bit faster, I know, because my weights are only 1 pound. Okay. Now we're going to bring our feet all the way together. Okay, so they're nice and tight together. Arms holding on to your weight. So here is a balance move. Okay. I'm going to put most of my weight to my left foot. Okay. I'm going to lift my right knee or my right foot off the floor. So I'm going to show you here. So feet together, weight to my left foot. Now I'm not locking out my knee. Keep that knee soft. Then lift the right foot. Release it. Okay. Shake out this left leg. So let's try it to the other side. Weight to the right foot. Don't lock out the knee. Then lift the left. So it's not just about balance. It's about weight bearing. Drop it down. Shake out the right. Let's go back to the left. Feet together. Weight bearing is very important for the joints. It's also important for the head of all of the bones. My left side is compromised from my ankle injury, but that's a good thing. I should be doing this more. And to the other side. Okay. What time do we have, Allie?
I have 11:29.
Okay. So last but not least, let's take our hands outside here with our weights. Your feet are about hip width apart. And let's just cross it and open. So when you open, you want your elbows to stay towards the inside of your body so that you don't go up to the shoulder. So sometimes people go like this and it really pulls on the shoulder. So if you use your elbows and keep them tight here, it stops that movement, but it still gives you the opening that we're looking for. Inhale, exhale, try one more. And weights down. All righty. Okay, ladies and gents, I think we did it again.